Good morning, good day, happy Wednesday. Are you feeling wise today on Wednesday Wisdom Moment? Um, I have had some moments this morning I wasn't knowing for sure if I could claim that for myself, but I know it's coming with spirit for me to be reminded. So thank you all for joining us. Um, let's see. This morning in my meditation, I was shown um, an event that I experienced as a child that I thought I'd share a little bit about. It was a time when I remembered having a conversation with my guardian angel, who I met officially when I was about 4 years old. Sorry. um, Whatever that was this morning. Sorry. There we go. And many of you may know, I was in kindergarten. Sister Mary Gabriel invited us all to feel our guardian angels and to name them. So I named mine Betty because there was a girl in the class named Betty that I thought was my friend. So anyway, at some point after all this, I was becoming more acquainted with Betty. I would ask her to show me if I was being good or not, so if I wasn't being a good girl or if I was being a bad girl or things like that. Probably the language of the day and that kind of religious references I was given. But one of the conversations I had with Betty when I was little was her telling me, that she would be reminding me of what I needed to pay attention to, and she would be reminding me to find some kind of goodness in all the things. And so not so much to tell me if I wasn't being good or bad. She reminded me that her job wasn't to make that judgment, but to remind me when I could bring a sense of goodness to my life, to the situation or to the moment. That conversation was so important for me because it really didn't necessarily set me up to not have any moments of guilt or shame over things that life presented, especially as I continued in that kind of educational system for quite a number of years past that. Um, but it was always there for me, that sense of no matter what I did, no matter how quote bad my actions were or my words were, there was always this place of goodness that was somehow available to me, and I was able to tap into that most of the time. So um, I think I stopped talking to Betty directly, at least very infrequently, when I was in about um, second or third grade. By that time, I really was just very comfortable with her presence, and I was feeling like my little desk, we had the chair attached to the desk, and I would keep scooting because I felt her sitting next to me, and I'd scoot over and over, and she just seemed to keep filling that space, and I fell out of my chair onto the floor. And the nun at that time yelled at me to stop that and get back and quit doing whatever I was doing. And I said, Betty pushed me. Well, Betty in my classroom was sitting on the opposite side of the room, so that didn't go well. And I tried to explain to the nun at the time, and I didn't know where that went, but I really sort of felt like, you got me in trouble, and now I don't want to talk to you. So it was wonderful to get reacquainted with her in a deep way many, many years later when I was about 21, just had turned 21 a few months maybe before the event where I felt her reintroduce herself to me. I'd done a spiritual alignment and cleansing breath, and I had a deep breath asking, he asked if I could feel yes or no, was my guardian angels with me, and I got, it's Betty. That's instead of I got the feeling, but I heard very loudly, it's Betty. Of course, I wept to be reunited. So part of the reason I wanted to share this story, this was coming to me in my meditation this morning, is that the truth is, whether we've had conscious connection and communication with any of the spirit guides or angels that are with us, They are. There's part of the commitment that we as souls make coming into form, that we're going to bring a team with us of support. So we have more, most people have more than one guardian angel, as whatever you want to call that, spirit guide. Uh, so it's good to know, a good reminder that whether we're acknowledging them, feel them, hear them, however that works, that they aren't absent in any way. So just pass that reminder on to everybody. And with that, I feel being called. One moment. Okay. Enjoy the message today, everyone. And keep breathing. Greetings, my beloved children. I am Gaia, your mother of this earth, and I am so pleased that now I will remind you of something that most of you have played with, an idea of, a feeling of, an expectation of. So let us talk about the season, the earthly season as you refer to it. And it is for some spring, and for others, our beloved autumn. And yet each of these seasons represent transition, transformation. Things are actively coming alive, like the buds of spring coming through the cold earth from the previous winter. Or the transformation becomes more apparent as leaves fall from the trees. They turn their color and they let go of the attachment to that which was once a source of their physical nourishment. And through that, in that season, it is the beginning of what some call the death of life. But it is not really so, as you know. So spring and autumn, transition cycles. Know wherever you are hearing this, and whether you're in this season or not when you listen to this, be appreciative that these seasons are representative, not just of the measured cycle upon the planet itself, but that all that life is in continuum, for all life forms in this dimension called your planet, that I am the presence of with you. So, in spring, new ideas, the feeling of hope for those ideas to be manifest, new commitments, new frequencies of becoming in the remembrance of life, awakening in you again. What may have been dormant or lying in the stillness within becomes newly awakened. In the autumn, it is that things are beginning to slow. Things are in that cycle of your inner being beginning to realign to what will be the fertile ground in the harvesting of things that have been laid forth for you. This may be the time then when you don't just shut down, but that you begin to have a new life expressing with perhaps a new feeling of power of what was birthed in you in previous cycles, becoming new, aware, is now ready for you to experience the fruit of it, the prosperity of it, the abundant life that all those activities of the previous cycles have brought you. So play in this, and again, all of this lays within you. There's no timetable. Oh, I must be attached to this time of year for only this event or that kind of experience. It is just a reflection to you of where life is supporting itself in your physical manifest experience of it. Are you ready for the new growth? For even when in autumn time there is the appearance that growth is diminishing and changing and decaying or transforming itself into some other purpose, even there is growth. There is growth. Do you know enough about what happens for many places on the earth when autumn arrives and leaves have come from trees and other plants have settled and they are now laying a carpet of new energy? Things are not dead. It is providing in that cycle a place where all that now is beneath can start to grow and become ready for some new activity. New kinds of life forms are still alive under the surface of earth and in your being. So I pray you hear me, that all these cycles are wonderful reminders that you can play in, you can think upon them, you can feel into them, and know that they exist within you in any moment in the cycle of your physical, mental, and emotional worlds, this dimension. What humanity experiences as emotion, other life forms experience something very similar. It is oftentimes believed that animals emote the way humans do. They may have similarities, especially some species closer to the earth, the understanding of humanity. But their emotional body does not relate to the mental world that yours is attached to most of the time. They feel. Their emotion is a feeling of what is moving within them and what they are experiencing in the world around them. Will they have fear? Yes. Will they have grief? Yes. But they don't live in it the way humanity does, because they are not bound to the mental world of where you have become more entrapped with the beliefs that have been structured around these feelings that you call emotions. So all of life, plant life, insect life, furry animals, swimming animals, flying animals, all creatures, as you might think of the word, those beings dwelling not in human form upon your earth and underneath in the surface of your earth. These are experiencing the cycles, the physical cycles as you understand them, of the seasons. And in their own life experience, they are presented with the seasons of their own process to continue to move through and beyond their own immediate emotional responses to life. When animals are brought into the human domain, they are referred to as your pets. Most of them adapt to, in service of the humanity they are in presence with, the cycles of emotional and mental vibrations that are experienced in their domain with the earthly life and humanity. So they become more attuned to that and respond more to that, or at least as much as they would respond to the events beyond the sight and sound of the human experience. You all know that there are things that animals see that you cannot see. They sense that you cannot. They sense nature is shifting even when you don't feel it. They respond to the frequency of the earth transition, whether it's through an earthquake, through the rumbling of something happening miles beyond where their physical body is. They respond. And even if it may be fear, it doesn't freeze them most of the time into peril. It motivates their so-called instinct to choose. Now, shall I run? Shall I pretend I'm deceased, or shall I do this? It gives them choice, and by the inner training, responses intuitively in alignment with who they are as a soul being and who they are as their massive sense of being through their species and through others that they share life with. Some are now realizing through the digging in the discoveries that humans like to do in their understanding of life on the planet, humans are discovering or rediscovering the root systems of many trees that go so deep and so far beyond and connect to other roots of other trees. And there is a network so much more connected, net, you see? There is this sense that these beings individuate and they are fully responsive to everything they are connected with. That's just one way in which it's demonstrated. Wasn't it clever when someone discovered they could measure responses in the leaves of plants on opposite sides of a room, sometimes in different rooms? If trauma was happening to one, the other was responding electronically, was measured. If a happiness, a joyfulness of being watered and fed was being felt by one, the other was feeling it as well, responding to that in their frequency. What a joyous new discovery when it came forth. And still, with these awarenesses of how the trees are connected and animals respond to things bigger than their individuation, and birds fly like that, and plants are associated with one another, whether they're physically located to the same place or not. And all of this is shown, all of this is seemingly known, but humans do not understand and believe or feel that connection with one another. Yes, it is grand when a soul meets a soul in embodiment, and you feel the frequency of joy reuniting. And it's so much more than that. Those are reminders, not just that one in soul is your frequency, but that you connect to the frequency everywhere. And if you cannot emotionally, mentally, and physically feel it, then know that in a concept of your being, you can believe it's true, whether it's seen or felt or known through your body. The more humanity accepts this piece of great news, of this connection with one another, that brings forth the healing of the discord and the misunderstanding and the fear. Or that the fear then becomes something which is a response like an animal in wild might feel when a predator is upon them. They're not judging that predator. They are not in fear in the sense of retaliation, but in self-protection, and all that becomes clear to that animal. So it's important, my friends, to wake up. Your human body is an animal body. It is a natural body of frequency. We want you to be so connected, not that you empathically emote for everyone, where you feel disabled and uncertain of where you are in the center of all of that, but that as you understand the frequency without holding on to it, so that even the greatest empathic consciousness can let it move through without it becoming the definition of their own being, not an entrapment. Or perhaps the entrapment comes because one does not know, because of your cultural training, what to do about that, except to feel from your perspective in your human sacred mind that you can breathe and bless and become in that continuity of recognition and not responsible as an individual for everything you feel as you might have interpreted it, to be responsible for how you feel. That's the key to getting in the flow of all that is in your nature. By the nature, as it is called, around you on your planet, your nature is part of this and part of all that you are living amongst here. So, beloved friends, I remind you, you're not harming me when you do things which are disallowing of your connection. Is it disturbing on some frequency levels when you pour plastics into the waters and bury them into the earth? It's not the best choice. But I am not going to fail at who I am because of it. Be aware, though, you might fail at who you are in relation to all of this, your gift of this garden called Earth. I know in my consciousness I survive all of it. I survive the fire and the heat. I survive the wind, the melting of ice, the freezing over. I survive all of that because I am participating in that as cycles and flow. And should the physical body of the planet we are so loving with disintegrate itself, we shall always exist in the consciousness. So one final word, the reminder, when others think of a new earth as being prepared for you, know this. You may or may not as a soul need another body of earth when this earth is no longer here for you, but it will always exist for you. Just as heaven, this is thought to be the most harmonious, peaceful, loving space, always present for you as you bring it here. Because we don't think of ourselves as separate from it. Heaven is already here on earth. Lots to consider what I've spoken. Please do so in your deep prayer, in your meditative moment. We are with you. We are you. Hi. Well, I feel bliss, like bubbling all through my body right now. It's, well, interesting I'm making a distinction as I say that word, that my experience of joy isn't far from bliss, but it is a distinct energy for me. Bliss is the state where there's a complete settling of everything, a complete feeling of detachment from everything, a complete oneness with everything. Joy perhaps might be when I'm feeling like a building of excitement, enthusiasm, and possibility of expression. And so I don't know how else to describe. That's my own distinction. So thank you for my bliss today. If you are feel inspired to come and play with us at the end of the month for our Zoom Play Shop with Spirit. I think it's Archangel Metatron. It's going to be sharing about Soul Prism. Anything else, we are here for you and can serve. Let us know. My mind isn't always fully connected to a stream of all these matters, but I will say I really have a wonderful vision for where I can be in a continuum of my state of bliss. So I invite you through breathing. Yes, it's natural. Yes, it happens automatically. And the more conscious we are of the moments that we can be in that breath, just as we can become conscious of the moments where we're holding our breath and forgot to breathe. These things really bring us to bliss, at least to the possibility in the realm of bliss, deeper or greater than before. I look forward to sharing again with you wherever and however that may present itself. Have a beautiful rest of this week and the moments that you're in, and I give you my love and blessings. Namaste, beloved friends.